cozy is this with my warm jersey and my hot coffee? Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, whatever it is for you guys. I am Melissa from Going My Own Pace, and I have been sharing my journey on this channel for a long time. And this part of the journey, which I'm very excited to share, is writing at my own pace. So I wanted to share about my journey as an author with a chronic illness. And I intend to make a bit of a series, but I need it to be very relaxed because I'm in the middle of trying to write my next book, and I am slowly releasing my next nonfiction book as an audiobook series, one at a time. So I need to be slow and steady about this. But as I have done the whole time, I document my journey and I share what I'm learning as I'm going in case it's helpful for you. The whole idea of becoming a writer felt so out of reach for me that it didn't cross my mind for a long time. And so I thought maybe in this first episode chat, we'd have a kind of a discussion of the history and how it came to be, how we came to this point where me, with several debilitating chronic illnesses and 4 children, have managed to put out 4 nonfiction books for adults, 3 books for kids, and my brand new fiction novel, Mindfully Yours, Ella. How did I do that, and where did it all start? So let's dive in. I have been writing and reading for a long time. So I can remember as a 10, 11, 12-year-old writing stories on my bed in a little like 1B5 exercise book. And I can remember snippets of some of the stories, but I'm not going to share because it's embarrassing. But I started very young. And my favorite subject at school, of course, was English. And I remember my 5th form, because that's how we called it back then, that's now NCEA level 1, but my 5th form teacher, I remember being so excited because I got a B in English in school C, and she was mad because she thought I could do better. And I went, oh. And so that's when I kind of decided that it was my thing and that I should take it more seriously. So when I went to university, I enrolled in a Bachelor of Arts and I did English Literature and Media Studies. I did the double major because that's just the way I roll. I don't do things by halves. So a double major it was, but in English literature, I actually fell in love with romantic literature, not romance the genre, romance the period. So the romantic period is the late 18th, early 19th century, and Jane Austen comes just after that, and I love her also. But I had the time of my life reading all of those books and studying. Unfortunately, though, the level of the romantic period papers was the 3rd level, the 3rd year, and that's the year I got sick. And so I struggled. It was very difficult. I remember tutorials in which it was like 9 a.m. I was so excited about the content of what we were talking about, and I could barely stay awake because I got sick in my last trimester of university, and that's when the chronic fatigue really came into play. And at that stage, I realized I was not going to be able to go on and do a master's in it. So I had to go launch into the workforce. And over the next several years, I tried really hard to be normal and to work, but that meant I wasn't able to read. So by the time I came home from work, I was too cognitively and physically drained to read. I literally went home and watched old television series on DVD that I had already seen before because I cognitively just couldn't take in new information. And so there was no time for any of that. And I thought that's how it had to be. But there was little glimmers, little bursts, and I had this one story I was working on, and I would pull it out every now and then and play with it. And that is a fantasy idea that is still simmering there. I've got about 20,000 words, and I know exactly what I want to do with it. But that's for later, because I need more skills to be able to do justice to that. That is my one big project. But what happened was I had this sense that if I could work slightly less and get off the computer, I might create a little bit of space in my life, a little less pain, a little less energy devoted only to work. And I did that when I was 25, 26. I had a health scare and I decided that was it. So I moved in with my parents and my brothers again, and we moved to another city where it was warmer, and I took a 3/4 time job. And what I suspected was true. By reducing my work hours, I created the space to breathe. So I started pacing without knowing. And after a couple of years, I started realizing that I needed to share my journey. So I started a blog. And I blogged away quietly. And then after a few years, I realized I had written a lot of content. And so I pulled that content together one November, actually, because it was the National Write a Novel in a Month. And I thought, well, let's just see what I've got. So I pulled it together. It was everything to do with pregnancy and fibromyalgia at that time. So I pulled it together and then rewrote it, because obviously blog posts are not written in the format of a book, and then added extra content, and I put that out as my first book, Pregnancy and Fibromyalgia. That's handy. This is the first edition. It is very small because, believe it or not, there is not a lot of literature or research about it, so I didn't have much to go on besides my own experience. And I did actually do that book in 2021 after my 4th pregnancy, so this is the final version of it. But I got it out, and so then I thought, okay, maybe I'm a nonfiction writer. So I went ahead and eventually produced Melissa versus Fibromyalgia. I don't have this is the final version of Melissa versus Fibromyalgia. I have all of the editions of my book from the very first to the most recent. And then Fibromyalgia Won't Win. This is the hardcover version, so it's quite big. And then the last of the adult nonfiction is my mindfulness toolkit for chronic pain and fatigue. That is like everything that I wanted to be able to teach people when I'm talking about using yoga tools in our pain and fatigue management plans. But I did all that and I still didn't click. And then I went ahead and wrote the My Mama series for kids. I wrote it actually to facilitate discussions I was having with my own children, trying to explain what fibromyalgia and chronic pain and ME/CFS were. So those came about all very organically, but still it kind of sat there that, oh no, I couldn't write fiction. But it's still on my bucket list. It was still my dream. And so I came into this year, this is next in June. It will be 2 years since my hysterectomy and endometriosis excision surgery, and that was a real turning point for me. So I have a lot more energy and a lot less pain now than I did before, especially learning about the hypermobility. So I'm in a place where I'm a bit more stable and my children are just that bit older. My youngest has just turned 4. So I thought, why not this year direct my efforts, all the efforts I put into writing and researching and editing and publishing blog posts and YouTube videos and social media posts and newsletters and all of those bits. What if I let myself redirect that and try a fiction book? And I had this story in my head with a character with fibromyalgia. And I percolated on it for a while, and I had a few thousand words written down just to get it out of my head, because I have periodically over the years had stories kind of come into my head, and I'll think about them for a while and then I'll let it go. A couple I've written down because I had this, I couldn't not. So I had to write it down to get it out of my head. And then I went, okay, I've got to put that aside now because I don't have the time or energy. But this one came back again and again. So then in January this year, I said, okay, I'm going to write. So I wrote, and I got to about 20,000 words and went, this is actually shaping up. So I went on to ChatGPT and I told it my structure and what I was aiming for, and it helped me tighten up some of the plot points. And through talking about it out loud, then you can get a sense of, oh yes, okay, this I need to develop. So it was a whole good brainstorming session. But the end result is that I managed to make a book. So this is Mindfully Yours, Ella. So like I said, I got to about 20,000 words. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I have something. And then I thought, I'm going to do it. Absolutely, I'm going to get this done. I've created systems. I've published other books. Haven't been very good at telling people about the books. And so maybe a couple of books a month sell, but I haven't been strategic about it at all. There was, for the first couple of books, it was almost like I was shy, like, this can't be right. This kind of worked out for me. Like, there must be something wrong with them. I better not tell people about them. And then I just thought, well, I've got all of these systems in place. I know how to get words on paper. I know how to edit the words. I know how to invite people to be beta readers. And so I did it. So I got a beta reader, and she loved it and gave me some feedback, which gave me encouragement. And then I had my brother look through it, and this is not his genre, so he wasn't super excited about it, but he gave me some good feedback as well. Then I ran it through some editing software. Then I put it in front of advanced readers, and I decided I was just going to go for it. So I launched it in April, and I still feel shy. It still feels like, I don't know, second rate, because I published it myself, which is stupid because I know that self-publishing is like a purposeful choice. I purposely didn't go to a traditional publisher because I want to retain creative control, and I didn't want to put it in someone's hands and have them want things changed and then hold on to it for like a year. I wanted it out there. I want authentic representation in literature. And also, it was just bucket list items, right? Completing the manuscript, bucket list item. Having someone else read it and like it, bucket list item. Holding the physical copy in my hands, bucket list item. Now having it available and other people who don't know me purchasing it and reading it, total bucket list item. And so then that's it. I have done it. And I'm going to keep going. So I can't stop. Once I finished Mindfully Yours, Ella, I had this idea for a bit of a follow-on, like, what next? Like, that's my question all the time, is what next and why not me? Like, I just ask these questions all the time. And for them, I was like, what happens after the romance novel? So I'm actually working on a Christmas novella kind of sequel for Ella. And it will come out in November. And I'm actually going to invite my beta readers very soon to have a look at it. And I've already also moved on to the next kind of main book in the series, which is Definitely Yours, Kira. She has a different chronic illness, but a chronic illness nonetheless. And she gets to fall in love as well, despite all of the obstacles, the very real internal and external obstacles that come up in real life and in someone with chronic illness. And I already have I have the next many years planned. Like, I could be releasing 2 books a year for the next how many years with ideas I already have in motion. So I want this to be the future of my career. I would like to stop dividing my time and having to go and do my part-time job 3 days a week, and only have 2 days a week for this. And when I say days a week, I mean those short days, right? You drop off the kids, then you go back and pick them up. So not that many hours, but I want this to be my career. So I'm sharing the journey, and that's how we kind of got to here. I hope that was a little bit interesting for you. I hope that was a little encouraging. If you have a goal that you are curious about, break it down into teeny tiny micro tasks. Actually, I've got videos about that. Microtasking is the way to go. But if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any questions about like the process I've taken, I actually have the system I've used actually now all 3 times in the fiction book. So yes, I can share about that if that's useful, but let me know what you think. Let me know if you're excited about the books, and thanks for being here on the journey. It's really exciting.